Oh, I see it. Okay, it's recording. Okay, okay, cool. Well, everyone, welcome to a really special Enso webinar. These have become an absolute favorite for us to do on the Enso side because we have a really good time finding people who are, valued people in our community, who are educators, who are really good at what they do. I love just being able to pick people out of the entire country who I feel like are really great trainers and bring them into the Enso community and give you guys training. So today we'll be doing Hard Wax 101, which is my personal favorite because I know that hard wax is such a technical and there's so many little things and tips and tricks and like just different ways that people do something that can genuinely change the way that you do things in your treatment room. And I know with McKenze specifically, I've learned from her for the past, 5-6 years, and she's taught me so much. So I'm just really excited for her to be the one to train everyone today and hopefully take away a lot of really great new valuable stuff. So before I get started, this is a really quick intro. I promise not to take more than 5 minutes, but I do want to give you guys a little background of Enso. So my name's Kirsten. I am the founder of Enso, and Enso was a company that was established in 2022, but we didn't become public until 2023. And Enso basically is a brand that stemmed from the idea of creating a community of estheticians who were all like-minded and wanted similar things in the treatment room. So I started my podcast in 2020 and really just going through that podcast and having all of these people in my inner circle as guests really brought to the forefront that a lot of innovation was happening outside of our waxing industry. Think like med spa, skincare, lasers, all of that. But it felt like waxing was still such like a old time, never changing, nobody was really doing anything different. And that was really my aha moment with the warmer. I just felt like we could be doing something so much differently, so much more impactful, and creating products that are, without filler ingredients or fragrances or just like unnecessary fluff to bring in a really effective product that you feel safe using on every single client. And so Enso was created, and really the biggest thing about Enso and what I want everyone to leave with, which is why I really love doing these webinars, is that you feel like you're included in this community. One of the really cool things that we do is we offer a private group. It's a private community group outside of Facebook, outside of Instagram, but it's a place that we share inside information. So currently we have people testing the new patina hard wax. We have the Enso Duo prototype going around the country in the next 6 months. And we participated with people all in this community group. So Stacey wants to drop that link so that you guys can take the opportunity to join it. We always give exclusive promos in there. We give exclusive deals. People know about products before everybody else. And I do that because this is, to me, what the Enso story is all about, is collaboration. We're also a brand with a plan. And so not taking too much time on this slide, but just letting you know that we're not just here to create products and, keep growing within the brand, but instead we're here to give back in other communities. We like to give back within our own community, of course, which is why you see some probably familiar logos. If you know about some nonprofits in our community, like Beauty Change Labs, Looking and Feeling Fab, but we also have some other communities that we feel really close to on a personal level that we like to support as well. So we try to do different initiatives on a monthly basis, but we are a small brand, so we just try to contribute where we can. But we always want to make sure that our estheticians know that we are a brand with a plan, and we do plan on growing and giving back as we continue to grow the brand year after year. We also try to be sustainable in areas of our business where we can be. I always joke and say, if you start a business, if you start a suite, if you start a brick and mortar, then you're not being sustainable at all, because to be sustainable would mean you have started it in the first place. But that's just how life goes, right? But what you try to do is when you try to build these brands, you try to make an impact where you can. And so when we introduced our bulk bags, we really wanted to make it so that we could give you an elevated experience with them, but then give you the opportunity to not only send them back to us to get points onto your account that saves you future money, but to become a sustainable brand and be able to reuse these bags. So that's just one way that we try to be sustainable as we continue to figure out new ways that we can. Oh, oh, there we go. So an overview, and this is where I will introduce McKenze. So an overview is that McKenze Trachuk, based out of Surprise, Arizona, will be teaching all about Hard Wax 101. McKenze has been a hard waxer for many, many years. I don't want to make up a year, but I want in my head to say 10.
It's closer to 9.
Okay, cool. So she's been doing hard wax for 9 years, but what's really unique about McKenze is that she doesn't only just know how to do hard wax, but she knows how to translate this education to others, which I feel like is something that not everyone can embody, which is why I think McKenze was such a great pick for this. McKenze has a brick and mortar business. She has many employees, and she has trained not only hundreds of people virtually, but she's had that one-on-one in-person training, which I believe makes her super valuable. She also does trade show stuff with me, and she's done even summits just recently in July where she's also taught her hard wax technique. So we're going to be going over all things hard wax. As always, we have an exclusive offer. I'm going to give it to you now, even though it's on the end of this webinar. And the reason why is because if some of you have to cut it short, I want to make sure you get the deal. But basically, you guys spent $15 to be here. And the reason why we have you guys pay is because I really personally feel like when you pay attention. And so this is kind of that skin in the game where, hey, we're going to collect money from you because we want you to come, but we never intended it for it to be ours. And so what I'm going to do is give you a discount code. It's called Webinar3. And when you apply that to the website for the next 3 days, you will get 15% off, or $15 off your order. And so we're giving it to you back. We just wanted you to show up. So that is why we do charge the $15. So that is our exclusive offer. But other than that, we'll be doing giveaways too. So we have a couple of giveaways as McKenze speaks. And how we pick the giveaways is Miss Stacy will go into the chat and just pick people that are active and who are participating, and she will randomly choose. And so have fun, ask McKenze questions. Please try to learn as much as possible. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and click out of here and give McKenze the floor. So just give me 1 second to stop sharing my screen, and then give me another second to make McKenze the speaker.
Okay.
You're good? Yes.
Okay, great. So like Kristen said, my name is McKenze. I own the wax room in Surprise, Arizona. And in addition to like the hundreds of people I have virtually trained, I have trained one-on-one 10 waxers over the course of my 6.5 years of owning the wax room. And I really do thrive with that one-on-one connection. That's why I've never offered a separate like wax training course aside from being a part of the waxing guide. But I do love it. So if you guys are near a wax pot, I highly recommend practicing along with me, or when this is all done and recorded, go back and watch it and do at the same time. But basically we're going to start out with the basic technique. I have 3 styles of strips that I use that are used all over the face and body. Just depends on the amount of wax that's grabbed and the size stick that you're using, and of course the size of the area that you're working on. So we are going to touch on those. This is going to basically be like a little mini training session, very similar to how I do my technical interviews when I am looking for a waxer. I do want to note that all of the waxers that I have trained have started from zero waxing knowledge. So it is possible to work up there to get, that expert level of waxing. I do want to note for my seasoned waxers that are on here, this is definitely going to go back to the basics for you, but just to have an open mind, and I challenge you to find something new that you've never seen or learned before and try to apply it to your current practice. And then for all of my people on here that are new to waxing, or you guys are still in school or whatever, I want you to just again, have an open mind, but take what the beauty school has been teaching you and kind of throw it out the window for a little bit. Don't get so stuck on that. Also, before we jump right into it, I just want to say, if you guys have questions about any little thing that I'm doing, throw it out there as time goes on. I like to answer as we go. instead of saving it for the end. So when we're in the thick of things, just throw down a question. I did try to answer some questions in the things that I have coming up that were pre-sent. So yes, without further ado, let's get started. So I am going to put gloves on because I just have to have gloves on. And I am using the Enso Penny Hard Wax. That is the only wax that we use now for full face and body. I am someone that prefers one wax that can do everything. And I know there's people out there that prefer to have options, and that's totally fine. It's preference, really. But I find that Enso Penny can do it all. And so that's what we like to use. So we're going to start out. I'm going to show you guys the 3 strips that we use. We have bikini line strip. We have a marker tool or marker motion. I kind of use that interchangeably. And then we have the brow strip. And I'll even refer to these as like, if I'm doing a strip on the face, I might even still call it a bikini line strip. Okay, but even though I'm doing it on the face. So it just kind of depends on the body area. That's just what they're called. Okay. So we are going to start with brow strips first, and I'm going to give you an up close shot of what your stick and how much wax, how the wax should look like on here when you are working with hard wax. Okay. Hard wax with brows is very intimidating for a lot of people because people have a hard time getting close to the brows. They can't get a clean, crisp line. I'm here to tell you that you can still do a thin application with this and get very close. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of control, but you can also go over it twice. So that's the nice thing with hard wax, is a little bit more gentle on the skin, that you can do a couple applications. So we are going to take our stick, and if you have a stick with you, you can practice this, or you can grab like a pen or whatever just to kind of practice. So I go over a lot of how to hold a stick when training my team members, and body positioning, which we're going to get into a little bit later. But to hold your stick for brow wax, you're going to hold it flat. Okay, this is what it looks like. You're going to hold it flat, and you're not going to have your fingers too high up on the stick here. Okay, you want to have it a little bit further back. You don't want to be too loosey-goosey with it, but you don't want to have a death grip either. Okay, so first finger on top, and that's how we're holding it. Okay, we are going to make sure our wax is a little bit on the warmer side. I'm going to be moving the camera around so you guys can see. Okay. Okay, so here's my wax spot. And when I do brows, I like it to be a little bit warmer. This wax warmer heats up all over. And so I will heat it up a tiny bit. If I'm doing body, okay, guys, I just got like so nervous for a second. So just like hang in there with me. I feel like I'm all over the place because I have so much to say. But if I'm doing full face and body, if I'm doing multiple services on a client, I will turn my dial up a tiny bit to get the edges of the wax warmer heated up faster, but the center is still a thicker consistency for when I go into the body. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So we are going to take our strips, our stick. We have our stick here, and you're going to go to 45-degree angle. This takes a lot of practice, okay? 45-degree angle, and you're going to scoop on the edges. So I'm pretty sure go this way. Okay, along the edge, you're going to stick it in straight 45 degrees. You're going to stick it in, scoop, you're going to scoop it up, and you're going to scrape one side and twirl. Okay, and I'll do that again. So this is what your stick should look like for an eyebrow wax. And the reason why you want it warmer is because this is not a lot of wax. So by the time you make it to the client, it's going to be cooled down enough. It's not going to burn them. Okay. So see how we have a nice little beveled edge here. Okay. That's not too, you don't want a ball of wax on the end, and it thins nice, even. Okay. It takes practice to get to that. So let me show you guys one more time. Thank you. Okay, so now it's even heated up a little bit more. So 45-degree angle, you're going to go in. I keep wanting to use a specific part of the cloth. Okay, so you're going to go in 45, stick it in about 1.5 inches, scrape one side, and twirl. Okay, Now, sometimes people will get the wax all the way down here. You don't want it all the way down there because then it can drip and get onto the client's face. Okay, so let me just show you what could happen. A lot of times they'll stick it way too far down and you have way too much wax. This is what it looks like. You still want room for your fingers, so that's way too far. Don't come at me for wasting sticks and wax. Okay, when I'm training, I don't care what they do. I say, just get a new stick, start over, okay? We are going to, okay, so now let's do this application, okay? So we're gonna go in 45 degrees, scrape, okay? And then we are going to start here. We go up on top of the brow, and then as you get to the arch, you're gonna flatten that stick and lift it up, okay? It's thinner right in here, and it gets a little bit thicker right here, so you can just grab it and pull up so that you don't have to flick with your stick, okay? And then you can go, remove it. Lay and immediately remove. I will do it one more time for you guys. So 45 degrees, see how I'm holding that stick? I'm very into the way you're holding sticks and your body positions and things like that. So we have here. And
a ton of application is flawless. Can you see the chat?
Thank you.
No, right?
I can see it a little bit, but I can't go that fast.
Okay,
I
cool.
saw someone just put
yeah, they have a question.
If you guys saw, I was bracing with my pinky there. Yes.
You want me to ask for you?
Yeah, what was it again?
It was, do you ever break the brow strip into two? Like the top and the bottom strip, yeah, into two. So 4 strips.
Yes. Not often, but I do that. If someone has really thick, full brows, I will go from here, or no, I'm sorry, I'll do the bottom part first to here, and then I will go back over here. And a lot of times there's still like another layer of hair under there. So think like first time brow waxes with like very thick, full hair, I will do a second strip all the way over and get the whole thing.
McKenzie, another thing that's really important to mention, and this is really only because we get it often, but people ask a lot about like hard wax and vellus hairs and getting them. And I do believe that this has a lot to do with the timing of a lot of, I already know you. Yes. I'm like, I see you going like this. So like, I think that would be a really cool thing to also touch on, because you perfectly explain this.
For the vellus hair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially it's for like face and brows and all of that.
Yeah, so I always, this is the stick that I use for brows as well. I know someone just asked that. This is the exact stick I use. It's a little intimidating because it's a bigger stick, but it can be done. And I do believe in training my team members the harder way to do things. And then I teach them like the tips and tricks and things like that, because I think if you've mastered it the hard way, it's much easier to adapt to changes. This specifically, this penny hard wax, obviously we're on Enso webinar, but I did make sure when I was helping formulate this wax that we got all these vellus hairs, because I personally, that's what I have on top of my brows is those vellus hairs. But don't be afraid to go over it twice, because it's so gentle to get them, and you can go slow. So usually I'll do my first pass. If I find that there's still more hair in there, I'll do a second pass and I'll pull a little bit slower. But I always tell the clients, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pull this next strip a little bit slower. So just take a deep breath, hang in there with me. I'm going to get these hairs so that you have a nice crisp brow. Okay, so that is the brow strip. And we will also use this strip for little touch-up sections. Like if I do the temple, I will do it like that. I will grab an eyebrow strip and then I will go down like this, depending on like a little touch-up, whatever it is. I did just happen to post I know there's a couple questions about full face waxing. I did happen to just post a full face wax on my TikTok and on my Instagram, and I think Enso reposted it as well. Highly recommend checking that out, because that is literally my exact pattern, what I do for every full face wax. So you'll see these strips, these style of strips in motion on there. So moving on to, that's our brow strip. We're gonna do our bikini line strip. And again, I will do bikini line strips with both sticks. So like if I'm doing a cheek, I will say bikini line strip. get your bikini line strip. It just depends on like the body area, okay? So it's the same technique, if that is making sense. Okay. So I'm gonna grab a bigger stick now. So, oh, cool. So the bikini line strip is gonna go, we're gonna aim for 2-ish inches down the tip of the stick. This is the tip of the stick. This is the end of the stick. We are gonna go in for a scoop and twirl. 2 things with that. When you twirl, you wanna twirl towards you, okay? And the reason why you wanna twirl towards you is because you have more control with that. If it's starting to drip, you have more control to flip it up and get it under. If you're going away, you have to juggle more fingers to do that versus your thumb push, if that makes sense. So always try to twirl towards you if you're not already. So 2 inches down, you're going to stick the stick straight into the wax pot and scoop it straight back up and start twirling. Okay. If you need to dip again, you're going to try and get it on the same side of the stick, not both sides of the stick. You just on one side of the stick. Okay. So you want a good, nice, thick consistency. I feel like this is about honey, maybe a little less than honey consistency. Don't be afraid to stir your wax pot. Some people are really afraid to stir it. Stir your wax pot. So this stick is going to be stuck straight into the middle of the wax pot. I'm actually going to come on this side. I think it'll be better. Yes. Okay. So we're going to go stick straight in, scoop straight up, and twirl towards you. See how it's just on one end of the stick, right? Just on one end. You can kind of see that. So we are going to twirl, twirl, twirl. If I needed more wax than this, I'm going to stick it straight down again, and I'm going to twirl again, and I'm just going to build on that strip. Okay. So if I'm going to use this on a leg, I might twirl and stick, twirl and dip as many times as I can to get that on there. Okay. If it is not staying on your stick, the wax is probably too hot. Okay. This is way too much for a bikini line strip, like an actual bikini line. So get a new stick. I like clean sticks. I would just do, usually for my bikini lines, we just do one little scoop and that's plenty. Okay. We are going to roll it off our stick. See how I rolled it off? Okay. Roll it off at the top. Move the wax towards the end of the stick, the tip of the stick, over, over, over. Okay. We're going to go over this a few more times, okay? That whole thing. So you always want to move the stick towards the way the wax is going. So if you deposit your wax here, you want to be able to push it in that direction. If you deposit here and you start moving this way, the wax is nowhere over there, it's over there. That's how you get an uneven strip, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's do that again. So tip of the stick, stick it straight down, scoop. Okay, roll it off at the top. Couple little twirls, don't do too much because then you could start grabbing the hair and it can pull. Okay, pushing the wax down, going just a little bit over, not a large amount over. So we go down, we move a centimeter, down, move a centimeter, down, move a centimeter, pick your stick up and make your lip. Oftentimes people will do huge sections and you don't have enough even wax across the whole thing. Like it's too thin. That makes sense. Okay. Any questions so far on that? Are we doing okay? Do we want to see it again?
Everyone's doing okay. Everyone's really happy about these detailed tips. And if you guys have any questions, someone said yes again. Yeah, let's just do it again. Okay. So again, and I'll also show you, I'll show you one more time on the big stick and I'll show you on the small stick too. So this is a bikini line strip. So you're going to stick it straight in to scoop. Twirl it off your stick. Boom. That's it. That's all you need to do. Okay. Down, centimeter over down. You're building that strip evenness. Okay.
I will go over some like troubleshooting as well. Now keep in mind, if the skin is already warm because you've already waxed, the strip that you just laid is still going to be warm, so you might need to wait a few more seconds before pulling it off again. Okay, I also use a bikini line strip for face, for like cheek. So if you go back and watch that video that I just posted, you'll see me do it on face, sideburn, cheeks, chin, the whole thing, okay? So I'm going to turn it up a little bit. When it comes to the temperature of the wax, you are always going to be fiddling with it. Turning it up, turning it down, turning it up, turning it down to get it to the right consistency. There's no set number. Do not get married to a degree of temperature of the wax.
Someone did ask about the dial. I do, because I do agree, and I think that's a great answer. Do you have a range where it typically likes to totter? And I know that this is different between each and every single machine.
Yes. Yeah, so it depends on the machine that you have. I have the Star Pill 5-pound pot right now, and it does teeter between, I'd say, like 65 to 70. 70 is actually way too on the hot spot. I would say 65 to 68, but it really just depends how much wax is in here. Because if this wax gets lower, it's going to go way down to probably 55 to 60. So it depends on how much wax is in here. That's why it's just best to go off the what you're seeing versus what this number is telling you. Yes. Let me show you the bikini line strip on a small stick, and then I will go over how I prep the skin. So on a small stick, so think cheeks, sideburns, front of the neck, back of the neck, yeah, any of those kinds of areas. So same exact technique, you're gonna dip it straight in, twirl towards you, and I still roll it off the stick. So you can see I did it down that time versus up. It really just, it doesn't matter which way you do it. And then go down. One thing that you really need to make sure that you have an eye on is how much wax you're grabbing versus the space that you are trying to cover, okay? So don't grab too little wax for a big area. If you do, you can grab more wax and fix it. The thing with wax is,
that's actually a good one. It's like finding the perfect amount of wax per area.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of practice to be able to determine how much wax you need for that specific area on that specific person. It takes practice. Everything with waxing is just repetition and practice over and over and over again. And like I tell my girls when I'm training them, is like, I will try to give you as many scenarios and possibilities as I can, but it's just impossible to give you all of them, because even still 9 years into waxing, I will still get a Brazilian wax that trips me up a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, like, wow, I thought their hair would come out way easier. It's not. Let me readjust. Like, there's just constantly, that's why I like waxing, because it's a challenge, you know? So it's just a constant, you just got to practice and use all these skills as much as you possibly can. Okay. Hopefully that's good. So what I prep the skin with for full face and body is really nothing spectacular. Micellar water. People have opinions on that. There's not many ingredients in it. There's no fragrances. It's plain. It's nothing. I think prepping of the skin is key to the wax. But it's nothing that we go over the top with. So we do prep with that, and then we just make sure the skin is dry, and then we go in with the hard wax. We don't prep with oil. Unless we're doing legs and they're super duper dry and we could see the scaly, we might throw a little bit oil on there. Yes. Let me check my notes really quick. Ooh, okay. Okay, I wanted to go over laying some strips. I have my little Brazilian friend right here.
Oh my gosh, that's a throwback.
I know. Yes. So I'm gonna go over some strips on the Brazilian so I could show you guys what they would look like, especially using that marker tool motion, which we haven't gone over. This is where it's gonna come into play on these labias, is the marker motion. So I'm gonna show you guys that, And then we'll get into the ergonomics of where to stand for all these services, and go into more tips and tricks and stuff like more specific to what you guys have. Okay. So I'm going to lay this down on my table so I can show you guys. The marker motion tool, this is mainly going to be for labias, or someone with like an underarm that's very pitted. Sometimes I find like if someone has larger breast implants and they're more of like a slender frame, their armpit is a little bit more pitted and it's easier to do this marker motion versus the bikini line technique. So we will be doing the marker motion, which you want to do about 1 inch of the tip of the stick. You want it about 1 inch, and you want wax on both sides. So I will go into the wax pot. This is also, I use the marker motion and tool for nose waxes as well. And I'm going to show you my nose stick technique because no one does it like how we do it, and everyone's always shocked on like how I do that. So I will be going over that as well. So marker motion, you have your stick and you're going to get wax on both sides of the stick about 1 inch deep. Okay, so you're still going to have the dip and twirl technique, but you're going to do it on both sides until you get the amount of wax that you need. Okay. This is what it's going to look like. And then I will move us to the table in just a second, but you're going to let the wax fall down off the stick a little bit. We're not going to roll this one. Okay. And then we're going to go down. This allows you to get a lot more pressure into those coarser, thicker hairs. And I'm keeping this strip fairly condensed. And I'm just going over it until it's just set enough. You don't want to go over it and over it to where it starts to pull, because then that hurts and it bothers the client. So that's kind of like what it looks like on the arm. And I'm going to show you what it looks like on the table here. Okay. Good. Okay. So this is the client. This is how they're going to be laying right there in the Brazilian position. You're going to brace up here. I always like to use my thumb to push the inner labia out of the way, and then my first finger to pull up, and you kind of pull up on all of that. So the inner labia is out of the way. Okay. If you need to move the inner labia more so you don't get wax on it, just take your stick and just move it over. Okay. It doesn't need to be a big to do or a big deal. You're talking with the client, they don't even know what's going on. Okay. So you can just move it out of the way first. And I always like to tell my waxers when I'm training them is look at what you're doing first before you go in and grab some wax. Okay. So take a second, evaluate what is going on here, what their anatomy looks like. You could even do a little pull up just to test to see how you want to do it. Imagine what you're going to do before you do it. Okay. So we're here. I'm going to lay the labia to show you. This is our marker motion. You're holding up on the outside. So this is where the crease is. That's where you want the wax to fall down. And then you're going to push it into the inner labia, get as close as you can. And you're just going to work it in. This is obviously a paper, not a real human. So it would obviously be a little bit more set by now, but you're going to work it in so that you have a nice, smooth surface. Okay. So outside in, always outside in. That's for a lot of things. Outside in. When you lay a bikini line strip, you're going further outside and then you're going in. Okay, there's more control that way. Perfect. So that is what that labia strip looks like. Any questions? When you go to lay the other labia, you're going to start on this side. And see how I angle it a little bit more 45 degrees so that I have more control of where this wax is going. Okay, I will show you that really quick. So we're pulling up. You can use your first finger to move the inner labia out of the way. You could use the back of the stick to move it out of the way, and then drop the wax down and then push it in. Push it in. Outside in for everything. Okay. So that's what you got going on here. Now, I know
Nikki,
someone's, yeah.
one of the things I'm noticing, which I feel like I've never seen happen before, is I like how you like create the lip in both, like you use both halves to create the lip instead of like pushing, create. It's interesting because you push, do it, push, finish it. Like, did anyone else use that?
Yeah, so you kind of like do this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What are those questions coming in?
It says, are your labia pieces a little thicker than other areas?
Yes, because that is the thickest point. Usually people are really thick in the labia, so it is thicker. If there's not as much hair, then it's not as thick. It depends on how large the labia is, what their anatomy looks like, how much wax I'm going to pull, and how much hair they have going on, right? Because they could still have a larger set labia, if you will, but not as much hair. So I still might grab a little less. That is also subjective. It's the hardest part to teach, like how much wax to grab when everyone's anatomy looks so different. So this is like the basic, right? Like this is standard across the board. This is what we hope for every single time, but it doesn't always look like this. And if someone's smaller, I might only grab this much for their labia, right? But then other people, I might be grabbing this much, right? It just depends on how much hair and the size of the anatomy, what it looks like, and what you're working with.
Someone else asked, do you always lay both labia strips at the same time?
Yeah, pretty much for the most, unless again, the anatomy, the labias can touch sometimes, right? Sometimes you don't have that inner labia to separate them at all. They're touching and sometimes even folding in between in the center, right? So if they're folding in the center like this, I wouldn't lay them at the same time because now they're going to be stuck together in the middle and it's not going to be good. So if someone has this, you almost have to do the regular, don't get super close. You do one strip and then you're going to hold it and almost turn it out. Okay. You're going to almost turn the labia inside out, if you will, and then put one right in the middle there. You don't want to skip out on that just because you can't see it with your naked eye.
Someone just said, want to confirm no oil for the labia strip.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on. I just want to confirm no oil on labia post wax.
I think no.
Yeah.
Okay. Post wax, definitely put oil all over. So we are using the fur oil and we put that oil all over mons pubis down into the labia everywhere.
Okay, this one's a little bit longer. Let me see. Okay. If someone has bigger cheeks, sometimes it's hard for me to pull the tab. Do you keep holding the cheek that's under the labia while it's drying? I don't. Oh, and then she said, I don't know if that's understandable, but I think it is.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And I already came prepared because I actually just had to do this today. I did wax a client earlier today and I just had to do this with her. So I tried my best to like explain this, but this is the bottom of the labia, right? So the bottom of the labia, and then you have like the booty cheek right here. And it goes down and then you can have that like the booty cheek part, if that makes sense. And so when you end your labia strip, you want it to end right here. You don't want it to go over that hump of the booty. Some people have this, some people don't. Okay. So what you're going to do, if their hair connects all the way and it's hard to get in there, you're going to do a strip sideways to clear this out. Okay. You're going to clear this out of hair first. You're going to do a strip sideways. I'll show you. And then you're going to do your labia strip. Okay. So someone asked this at the IECSC as well. And I tried to go over it as well, I think, too.
Yeah, I remember that. You do have more questions, but I'm going to wait for you to give me the go.
Yes. Okay. So they're laying here, right? You're going to do a strip out like this. Don't get onto the labia, but you're going to do a strip like this on both sides. And that'll clear this out with most of the hair. Might not get everything, but most of the hair, so that you have a better clear spot for your lip, for your labia strip. That helps a lot. Okay. let's continue with questions and then we'll do some ergonomic stuff.
Okay, cool. So somebody says, Estelle says, if someone has a lot of hair, do you trim or do you part the hair and break the labia up into 2 strips?
Yes, great question. So I don't trim the whole thing, and it's very rare that I trim. And when I do trim, I only trim I call it the nook. So think like the top, like right at the top of the mons pubis, like right before things split, you know? This spot right here, this is where I'll trim the hair so that it doesn't get caught in these strips right here. So if I can take this hair, this is gonna sound so crazy, but if I can take this hair and twirl it around with my fingers, that tells me I need to cut it. So I will literally pick it up, twirl it around with my fingers, and then cut it. Everything else I don't trim. I do not trim labia hairs at all. I will separate it. So I will, again, like stick my finger in between the hair and pull up so that there's nothing getting caught. Okay, you want to make sure that the tip of your strip that you're laying is so flat onto the skin. Okay, this part right here at the top is not intertwined with hair up here, because then it'll set longer and it'll be a gooey mess when you go to pull it off. So wherever you start your strip, you need to make sure it's clear, it's not too thick, it's not getting stuck in other hair. So yes, I will chop it in half with my finger. I'll do the bottom part, remove it, then I'll do the bottom part, or the top part, and then remove it. So yes.
Yeah, somebody meant, so so oil pre-step, no. Oil post-step, yes.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Okay, hold on. There's someone just says they really appreciate the way that you're explaining this.
Okay, cool. Really
Oh,
quickly.
go ahead.
Sorry. This strip right here, I just remembered really quickly this. If you don't want to do this strip, just another thing you could try, because like if you try this and you don't love it, is you could have them do knees to chest first. You can have them do knees to chest first and do the butt strip first, and then put their legs down to do the butterfly. And then, so you could do either or.
Someone says, do you remove the hair first and then do the labia strip, or lay both together, pull sideways strip first, and use that as a tab for the labia strip?
No. You're talking about this strip and then the labia strip, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no. So you're going to lay this first. You can lay both these at the same time. Remove, and then go in with your labia strips. Because the end of the tip of your labia strip is going to touch this. So, no. I personally am also not a fan of taking the strip and laying it on top of another strip to create a tab, to like be able to pull it. I'm not a fan of that. I don't teach my waxers to do that. I teach them that if they don't have a good lip, is to just go back in, grab some wax, and make the lip better.
Would you like to do a demo of that? Like create a strip that doesn't have a good lip and then like show how you create a lip?
I'll try. Sometimes it's like hard.
It's like, I don't know how to not be perfect.
I don't know how to do that. I'm perfect always. No. Okay, so we'll just go with that, right? Like, so that doesn't have a good lip. See how that doesn't have a good lip? So I teach my girls to just go back in, grab a little bit of wax. Let's just make that a little bit better. Okay. So now it's better. Okay. Also a tip.
Is there like a time where it's too late to do that? Like if they're building, and then they're like, crap, I don't have a lip. And then they're like, ugh, it looks now set. Like, is there like a...
Yeah, you want to do it sooner than later, for one. Sooner than later. But if you have to go back in and really correct yourself, I've done it before. The girls have all done it before, especially like when they're new. It's fine just to go back in, and then you're just going to have to sit and wait for that little section. It's not ideal, but you want to do it sooner than later. And to grab your lips, just so that everyone is not doing, there should be no need to like, again, everyone has different techniques and styles, and this is like just what I prefer, and this is what I teach. So this is what I'm teaching you guys. So you have your lip, right? There shouldn't really be a need to like lay the strip on top of that to create the tab. If you're gonna do this, okay? You're gonna have a little hook. It's gonna be on the end of the tab, and you're gonna almost like pinch right here with your knuckle, and it's gonna lift it right up. So practice your lips on the end of your strips and do that hook method to get it off. You shouldn't need to put another strip on top. But if you need to fix your lip, just go in and fix it.
Okay, I had somebody else ask. She said, how do you prep your clients? Which I know you said you just cleanse it. And then she said, do you ever create a lip on your glove to use? Which I know you answered that. Like, no, you don't use a tab or anything like that.
No. I don't know what the concept of that is, other than just like someone else's like technique and style that they prefer to do. But I really just think that's an extra step, in my opinion. I don't really understand how that works, but I'm assuming you just scoop wax, put it on here, do your strip, and then take this off and then stick it. You should just be practicing good lips. You should just be practicing over and over and over again. There shouldn't really be a need for that. Now, if you are I have done this, and I teach my girls this in the beginning, is if you overestimate the amount of wax that you needed for the area that you're working on, that we can wipe off on the back of our glove. So say I accidentally was like doing labia, and I'm like, oh shoot, this is like way too much wax. I might just do this and then finish. Yeah. The whole goal of waxing is you want to keep things moving, keep things smooth, and moving quickly. So the less steps, the better.
Emily asked, what are your thoughts on doing figure eights? I know some people use this method. Do you always go with the hair growth for the first strip and then against for cleanup?
Yes, I always go with and then against for cleanup. Sometimes I'll still do a cleanup in the direction of the hair growth. Like if there's a lot of hair left behind, I'll just go again with the hair growth before I go in with a backward strip. The figure eights, I guess I'm not familiar with that, but I'm assuming have you seen that before? Okay. So I'm assuming you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if there's a lot of hair here, they're going like this to lay the wax. Okay. That's very interesting. I've never seen that, I don't think. You'll send me a video now, I'm sure. If you see one, send it to me. I don't think that that's necessary. I just think that, like, based off my assumption of that, I feel like it would end up pulling the hair and be uncomfortable for the client. Like, imagine the hair just getting tangled up, you know? Just go down. I don't think that's really necessary.
How many passes can you do per section? Like, what's like a safe pass for you?
On a Brazilian?
Mm-hmm.
I would say we probably do 2 on every spot. There might be a few that get 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I always do cleanup strips, always. It's just ingrained and in part of the pattern that we do for every part of the body. We do not do one pass and then take a look at everything and then see what needs to be done. No, we just immediately do it. Because it's more than likely, 9 out of 10 times you need to do that anyway.
That's a good way to look at that.
Okay.
Okay, cool. We're caught up on questions.
Okay, perfect. So I have what's that question?
Oh, it says my prior boss tried to train me with a Brazilian. You know how they have like put them in the cups? It says, and I think people do that for margin reasons, but the question was, do you think that's a good amount to use? Like
sticks?
No. I think it's of like wax. I think they like put a certain amount of wax in so that they like know and can gauge how much wax they use per service.
So call me a bad business owner all you want, but I don't be tracking the amount of wax that I use for nothing because this is what I cannot like stress enough. Everyone's body is different. Everyone's a different shape and size. Everyone has different anatomy. Everyone has different style of hair. Like you might be working on someone that's like more slender, but like they're giving you a harder time with their hair just like being more tricky or needing to do a few more like concentrated strips or whatever it is. Like it really just doesn't matter. Or like someone's sweating and it's just taking off. So I really don't judge the amount of wax that I use because it's not the same per person. I think that's crazy. You put it in a little cup. That would be so insane. Okay, so what we're gonna do now.
Been somewhere, by the way, where they use the cup. Like this is definitely like people do this, McKenzie.
I guess I'm just in my own little bubble. Like
you are
I guess
I've actually been somewhere where they do the cup, and how people sometimes do it is like if their wax warmer is placed kind of further than their bed, but like of course, like if you have the ability to create your own space, I think the answer to that is like you definitely should figure out where your bed and your bed wherever, like you should have your room working with you, not against you.
Yes, and I think that's a great segue into the ergonomics of how to stand when applying strips. So I have one of my girls here. She's going to lay down on the table, just lay down regular. And I'm going to show you exactly as the waxer, how and where you should be standing for certain strips. We're going to do Brazilian and probably full face and maybe arms if we have time. I'm not waxing her. I'm just showing you exactly like how you should stand as a waxer so your hips don't hurt. And you are standing appropriately so your body lasts a long time. So, yeah, the cup thing that's crazy to me. I don't know how that works. Okay. So, I think this is good. Perfect. Okay. So, go ahead and do the butterfly position, please. This is Vanessa, you guys. Okay. So, see how this
is that our model from Vegas?
Yes, it is.
I can't see her. Hi.
I was like, I promise you don't have to be naked this
Vanessa.
Even though this is like less people than that one. Yeah. Okay. So you could, as you can see, like I'm not very far from my wax warmer. Our rooms are on the smaller side. I would prefer like a slightly larger room, but this is what we work with. So we find ourselves doing a lot of like this, like swaying, just like leaning, or we find ourselves doing we're just like leaning like this, which is not good for your hip. So I try to remind you guys every once in a while, and I remind myself too, because I've been doing this for a long time, but I still forget to be proactive about the way that I'm standing if I don't want my hips to be killing me at the end of the week. So you will always stand. You want your shoulders above your hips. I know it's like very standard, but feet planted on the ground and as straight as you possibly can. And for the most part, you're going to be standing here, or you're going to be standing here. And this way is a little bit more angled, but you still want to aim for the hips or the shoulders over your hips and then leaning forward. The biggest thing that I go over with my girls when I'm training them is you need to see what's happening here. Okay. If you can't see it on directly, then you're not standing in a good spot. You don't want to be standing here and looking on. You want to be as close as you can standing over without hunching your back or like leaning too far. Okay. So when I'm doing, this is where I'm standing for my bikini line strip on this side. Then when I come to this side, I'm going to move around the knee and I'm going to lean this way. Okay. Now when we do our labia strips, we are going to stand this way so we can see everything and we can get really close if we need to. Okay. And then same thing on this side. We're staying here. We're staying here. We're staying here. You're going to find yourself getting the habit of doing this too a lot. It just depends. So I prefer that you try to stand here as much as you can because it's the best ergonomically possible way to stand, but you're going to be here and here. Okay. Laying. I like to go here because see how much more you can lean over and see what you're doing versus this way. It's a different view, but ergonomically, this is safer. Okay. So that's your Brazilian. And then you have your knees to chest, which we're not going to do. Any questions on like the standing portion?
Nope. Just a lot of they haven't been taught that and they appreciate it.
Oh, cool. Yes. I find
Oh,
a lot of
Stacey has a question.
oh yeah, let's hear it.
So I've seen some waxers, they're like at the foot of the bed. Like
Yeah.
they say it helps them a lot. I've never tried it, but it looks like it would be beneficial. I just don't know if you've ever tried it or what
I have not tried it myself. I'm definitely a creature of habit. I will tell you that right now. Our rooms are not designed to be able to do that. So we would not be able to do that in here unless we completely like flipped our bed or had the client lay a different way. I find, because I have seen that before, I think that's like a newer thing coming into town. And I think you should try both ways to find what works best for you, for one. One is not better than the other. It's just going to be whichever you prefer. If I'm standing at the end of the bed, what I have seen is like there's a lot of leaning, more leaning, I think, than there would be if you're just doing it from the side. So it's just preference, really. I'm sure you probably have them scoot as far down as possible. I just feel like there's a lot more reaching and leaning with that one, just based off what I've seen. But again, preference, do what works best for you and your body. Yes. When I'm training my girls, I'm very hands-on, I would say, and I'm constantly moving them. I'm moving their bodies around. I'm like, okay, can you see it from here? Can you see it from there? Let's move your arm, let's move your hand, and how they're holding the stick. That's like the two biggest things is like body positioning and how you're holding the stick is so important and creates less awkwardness if you practice those things. I'll even have them go home on like training day 1 or 2 and have them get someone that lives with them or a friend or someone come over, and they just go through the motions of like, okay, I'm supposed to hold the stick this way, I'm supposed to stand this way, okay, next it's this way, just to get that ingrained into their body a little bit more. Yeah, so I was going to move on to the face if you guys are all good there.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Let me reposition this. Woo! Yeah, you can run butterfly, girl. Yeah, I'll probably take over your glasses. Thank you. Okay, the face. Okay, I think you'll be able to see me pretty good in this. Since we're on the face, I'm going to show you the tweezers and scissors that we use. This is BWH Cosmetics. I think I already sent the link, but this is what they look like. Scissors. And then we all use the pointed tweezers from them as well. We all like the pointed ones. Again, I think this is the harder thing to work with and learn with, but we teach them first to use this, and then it's like a piece of cake. So, but I do think that you can get really good precision on brows with these and very specific on which hairs you pull out. Yeah.
BWH is also a women esthetician owned brand as well, you guys. She is a fantastic person. I personally have been using her tweezers for a long time, actually, because of McKenze, and Barbie is one of the best people I've ever met. So definitely, if you have not heard of the brand, go check it out. Truly, truly, really good tweezers. Yeah, Barbie's really cool. I love all of her. She's just great. She's just like a great person to support, I think, too. And just, yeah, she has really cute stuff. Yeah. And I know she does like wholesale type stuff if you're buying like bulk. Like if I bought 20 tweezers, there's like a special price, whatever. Okay, so for full face, there's a lot of moving around on the face. Now, you have to make sure that you're the one in control of the space in the room. So sometimes clients will lay down on the table and they're not very close to me. Like they might be a couple, like scoot down a little bit, please. They might be like this. And if you think you have to, if they're not directly underneath you when you're looking down, they're not close enough. So you just have to remember that you're in control of the room. You need to ask them, can you move a few inches towards me? So that you have the closer look, and then lift your chin a little bit. So sometimes clients will keep their chin down, have them lift their chin. You're in control. Tell them what you want them to do. Okay.
So we do our cleansing, right? We always start with the brows. And again, like I'll just briefly touch on this because I just posted a video. I didn't know I was going to touch on this, but I just posted the video. So I highly recommend looking at that. But you are going to do eyebrows first. Okay, let me put my gloves on so I can kind of touch your face a little bit.
And you guys, while she's doing that, as a reminder, you will get every link. So before each class, when we have our instructor start, they link everything they use as they do these things. So whatever questions you guys have about like what she's using, that will come into a email for you guys afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are going to start with the eyebrows. Eyebrows, upper lip, lower lip, chin. Scratch that. I was going into my explanation of like how I explain this to a client, but we're going to do the eyebrows first and then the forehead or hairline area. So we're going to stand at the back of the head, shoulders over hips, and we're going to do the middle of the brow. Okay. Then when we come to the side, again, hips over hips, or hips over hips. These are your shoulders. Shoulders over hips. And you don't want to be leaning way over. Turn them towards you a little bit. Okay, so you're not leaning and hurting your back so much. Okay, you're going to hold your hands here. I like to do a slight lift. Brace, just like how I showed you in the beginning. Your pinky is going to be braced right here. And you go down here. And then flatten your stick. Okay, then we're going to go back. Still standing in the same spot to do, I might go more angled, but I'm still straight. And I'm going to go this way. Down. Okay, I move a tiny bit back to my little side section. The most important thing is that you just need to see everything that's going on. Okay, you need to see everything that's going on. So I'm going to hold my stick like this and go down. And then I might turn her back this way. Hold my stick and go down. People get nervous taking this stick with hard wax all the way up here, but you can. You just have to practice. It's nerve-wracking. Most people will start right here, but there's still hairs there. You can get a nice little strip in there. Okay. And then when we go in to do our forehead or hairline, we're going to grab a bikini line strip, just a tiny bit amount, depends on the surface area of the forehead. Some people have a larger space, so you might go a little bit further down the stick. If it's a little bit smaller, you might go a little bit further down. So a little mini bikini line, okay? And you're still standing here. That's on there. You're gonna lay this strip right here on the temple. I'm all about connection. Don't forget about this temple from the forehead to the top of this sideburn, okay? Standing at the back, I can see everything, and I go down this way. That is an eyebrow strip. Is that making sense? And then you would switch. So now I'm going to be this way. You always want the end of your stick when you're doing like the hairline going towards the bulk of the hair. So you have more control and you see where the wax is going. You need to be mindful about where the end is though, and it's not getting into the brow wax, the brows. Okay, that's like a lot of information, but and so then you're going to stand on this side and you're going to do it this way, and then again this way. Everything is very shoulders over hips. I'm not moving a lot. I'm not leaning over a lot. I'm having the client, I'm manipulating the client to where I need them to be. Okay. So after we do our eyebrows and our hairline forehead, we're going to go into our lip. I always start backwards with a lip wax. So I start down here and then I go up like this. And then I'll do a second strip going down. Okay, so we'll do lip and then lift your chin up a little bit for me. Lower lip, bikini line. So upper lip was eyebrow strip, lower lip, bikini line. And I start here. I try to use this as like my guide. I might go a little bit out. End of the stick going up towards the lip this way. And then I'll do one going back this way. I'm still standing in the same exact spot. I have not moved other than to grab wax from my wax spot. Now to do the chin, you could do this two different ways. You could do a chin strap, which is what I would probably do on Vanessa because she doesn't have like a lot of hormonal hairs right here. So I would do just a chin strap on her. So if you lift your chin a little bit more, this is where you need to have a lot more control. And I'm going to switch my ring finger under here so that I could still keep this flat surface, but I have more control over the stick staying flat like this. Okay, and I'm like barely moving my hand, I'm just moving the stick so it stays flat. A lot of times people will do this and they try to move their whole thing, but the stick can get caught in their neck and then it can cause a skip and an uneven strip. I hope that's making sense. Waxing is very like, you got to see and do, it's very visual with that, okay? And then, or if she has a lot more hormonal hair, I will do the lower lip this way, and then I will come stand at the back of the head, and instead of doing the chin strap, I'm going to do another bikini line strip, and I'm going to go down, just to be more specific, and I'll break that up into two. Okay. Moving along, I'm going to have them turn to one side. Again, still having them keep that chin lifted. I will pull the hair out of the behind the ear. I'm looking before I'm doing, I'm assessing the situation. And then we're going to begin with our sideburns and cheek. And I'm going to show you how I stand for those. So this is the right side of the cheek. I'm now going to be standing on this side of the person to get the end of my stick towards the ear, okay? This way, this way, this way, and then I make it look, okay? Then I'll go backwards and I'll start here and I go up this way. And then when I do the cheek, I'm moving positions again so that I can see the whole entire thing. And when I do the cheek, I'm standing at the top of the head. I'm depositing the wax here. I'm making sure I'm slightly overlapping with the sideburn that I just did, and I'm pushing towards the lip. If you make the lip of your strips right here on the jawline, it's very easy to grab it, to pull it off. So I go down and then I go up. To finish that out, I do a front of the neck strip, which sometimes I'll have to have them lift their chin a little bit more. I will have wax on my stick. You can do this strip two different ways. You could start it underneath the chin like this and go all the way towards the earlobe, or you could do it from the earlobe to underneath the chin. Just depends on like the more prominent way the hair is growing. When I train, I focus on full faces and Brazilians, because once you know those, you can pretty much do anything. It's just a different surface area. So then I'll have them turn your head to the other side. This side of the cheek, the left side of the cheek, you can pretty much stay at the bottom of, or at the top of the head because of the way the stick is positioned. You want it to go towards the ear there. So down, 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 and then up. And then same right here, you're gonna deposit. You're not gonna deposit on this side like we did on the other side because you want the stick to go towards the end of the stick. So you're gonna deposit this way and move it this way. And then the front, yes, good. Okay, any questions so far? I want to show you the nose. Do you care if I wax your nose?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay. I'm going to wax Vanessa's nose so I can show you guys my nose technique because people are always amazed by this. Okay, are we all hanging in there? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Okay, so let's go over the nose stick. So you're going to see a lot of people online doing nose sticks, and there's wax dripping down the stick. When it's inside the nose, it's like dripping. It's like globbed up. Way too much wax. Okay, way too much wax. You don't need a lot at all. So you're going to practice this. You're going to do this with pretty warm wax in the edges, okay? And literally a pea size, this teeny tiny bit on the end of the stick, okay? That teeny tiny bit. With warm wax, you're going to get it on both sides. Just a teeny tiny bit. Okay, just a teeny tiny bit. See how it's not all the way to here? Okay, you just a teeny bit. You want it a ball on the end of your stick. Okay, I'm gonna move this over to Vanessa and I'm gonna show you how I do this. Okay. Okay. wax straight on the stick. You're going to move the tip of the nose up and you're going to stick the wax in there and you're going to kind of push it in there. Do a little circle around, stick it up at the top and squeeze. See how there's no wax dripping from the stick or the nose? If she had a mustache that she wanted to keep, I would not have gotten wax on it. Okay? You don't need a lot of wax to do a nose wax. Very little. Okay? And I always tell everyone, I'm like, if you think the wax is ready to pull from the nose, count to 5 one more time and then pull it, just to make sure, right? You're going to brace here. You're going to squeeze like the bridge of the nose. Okay? 1 pull, boom, and then squeeze. Done. Okay? I'll do the other side as well for you. I'll kind of stand back a little bit so you can see it. So just a tiny bit of wax. We're going to push it in there. Do a little loop-de-loop and squeeze. Okay. I think I've pretty much covered everything. If there's any other questions, there's like, I'm not sure what everyone else was looking for. Again, bridge of the nose full.
I only have one more question. Please drop any questions if you have them. One of the questions was, do people purchase scrubs to exfoliate or have them use whenever? So I think this was like an all over question for everybody, but if you want to answer like your favorite products for exfoliation.
Yeah, so we love the Zandyland Deck Scrubs. For exfoliation, we recommend it 2 to 3 times a week. We also carry the Love Scrubs, which is like that sheet of, actually I have a little picture right here. It's in the background right there. That sheet is really nice because it doesn't harbor bacteria or anything like that. So as soon as you're done like putting soap on it and washing your whole body, it does completely dry. So you can use that on like underarms. I don't really recommend it for Brazilians still, just because it's a little bit more of a sensitive area. But you could use that to like exfoliate your legs and your arms and your underarms. But we like the scrubs for Brazilians.
And then someone asked, which I think you answered earlier, if you do any personal training outside of just for your waxers.
I have not. I do have a special person that I'm training in person in the first weekend of October. So we will see how that goes. And the reason why I've never
like magic to get her to do it. I don't know. Maybe message Stacy, because I don't even think McKenzie would train me.
And the reason why I've always been hesitant about doing it is, and I know there's other waxers out there that offer like a 1-day full class, is because I've dialed in my training technique so well, and they train for 4 weeks. My new waxers train for 4 weeks. We do it 2 to 3 days a week, and it's down to a science. It's really the best formulation that I've come up with to gain their, like, for them to get their self-confidence and get as many models as we possibly can. There's just been a system that I created that I really, really love. And I just feel like I would almost be doing a disservice by offering those types of trainings like in just a day or 2, because I feel like it wouldn't be as thorough and they wouldn't have had that time to build the confidence and stuff. So that's why I've never offered it in person, but we'll see how it goes when I do the one in October. Miss Stacy gets to be that lovely gal. She does have some experience already, so I think that might be different. So it could also be something that if you already have some experience in, that might be better. I don't know. We'll see.
Awesome. Someone just said the class was so helpful, which I agree. And
Good.
yeah. Okay, cool. Well, let me just give you guys, for all of those that entered late. So I said this in the beginning of the webinar, you know, have you guys pay $15 to be here. And I will re-explain that we do that because I believe that when you pay attention. And so this is how we make sure that you show up for yourself and that you participate and you want to be here, but we never intend to keep it. And so what we do is we create a 3-day discount code. It's webinar 3, and it actually will save you $15 on the website. We don't do it a certain amount that has to be done. You know, to us, it is your money. So please spend it on the site however you will. Please do not share this code with anybody. We're still a small brand, so we can see who uses the code. And also we just, you know, that's your code. You guys took the class. You guys should feel, you know, the ones that get to use it should be you guys. So $15 off webinar 3 for 3 days. I just want to tell you, McKenzie, thank you so much for doing this. I know every single time, which is why I consistently message McKenzie and bring her anywhere that I get invited to, because
Yes, you guys.
so much value. Every single time I'm with her, I truly learn something new. She's so good in this industry. And I know McKenzie would be more than happy to probably answer any DMs and later questions that you have. Please follow her, The Wax Room AZ. And thank you guys for being here. This is like a dream come true to be in a room with estheticians. I will never get over that. I will get emotional every time. So thank you for being here. And you know, we hope to do another class in the future. We're actually talking and working with Ashley Melcher, Wax at Ash, to teach a really fun class next time. So we will be in conversation with you guys about when that will happen. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Just know, give us some time to get the video to you. We send it through Calendly, through what you guys linked with, but we also create a separate email. So it will come from both parties in case you don't get it from another. If you guys need it, please let us know. It's not a bother, and we will forward it to you. We want to make sure you have it, but give us a day so that we can have it load on our back end and we can get all the links and everything so you guys get the absolute most out of this class.
Also, really quickly, we need to take our picture.
Oh yeah. And if anybody is interested in a picture, if not, you can go off the camera and hop off. But I love to take pictures. I love to, you know, keep these to document them for our time as a brand. And if you guys want to take pictures, I always remind you that this is a really good time to let your clients know that you are choosing education in moments when you're not in the treatment room. This is a really easy marketing thing that you can throw up and let your clients know that you deeply care about them, which is why you showed up for an hour outside of work hours. So if you guys want to do it with me, please do. But thank you for reminding me, Stacey. I always like scream when I forget to do this for like the next hour to her about like what I was thinking. So, okay, I do a millennial peace sign. You guys can do whatever you want.
I'll also do a peace sign.
1, 2, 3. Yay. Oh, perfect. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and end the call. Let us know if you have any questions. Thank you for showing up. And thank you, McKenzie.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.